Hello everyone, my name is Meghan LeVota. I'm an ENFJ, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some insights and inspiration and lessons about life that I have learned from speaking with and observing the ISFP personality type. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I have a whole series where I'm discussing this with each personality type. I'm going to be sharing insights from specific ISFPs I know, and just from my knowledge from understanding Myers-Briggs, from the comments that I've seen, and understanding functions and observing how the FI and SE worldview works. So I'm going to start by telling a story. An ISFP friend of mine, when I first talked to her about Myers-Briggs, she was really interested in it. She was interested in things like astrology and stuff like that. She wanted to learn more about Myers-Briggs. She said that she always tested in between an INFJ and INFP, and that she didn't know like which one she was. And it wasn't until actually discovering what ISFP was, until she actually started to get more into the Myers-Briggs stuff, because she's a very artsy, open-minded sort of person, as are almost all ISFPs, but you don't always see that like in the descriptions. It's kind of dominated by the INFJs and INFPs talking about their little introverted mystical worldview that, you know, ISFPs also have. But anyway, something she said to me once is, I was complaining about like my life or something. I was like, man, like I really just want to be a media influencer. I want to have grow my YouTube. I want to have a podcast. I have things to say. Like, I know that I work well in front of an audience. I've always liked theater. I just know that I want to be like an influencer, but that sounds so lame. Like, what sort of person wants to be an influencer? Like, I was like shaming myself for having that desire, and also noticing, I was like, oh, it seems like everybody wants to do that these days. It seems like it's such a trend for people to just want to be on the internet or whatever and make their money that way or whatever. And she just very nonchalantly was like, well, not everybody wants to do that. That seems like a lot of work. And I was like, well, it seems like everybody wants to do that. And she was like, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to put myself in front of other people in order to maybe be judged, to put myself out there like that. Like, she's like, I'm perfectly happy with my job. And I think something about this is, something about her response I feel is very ISFP. One, she was validating me for my unique desires. Introverted feeling understands that we all have unique desires, especially coupled with introverted intuition that ISFPs have. And me, as an extroverted feeling dominant, I am more inclined to look at the trends of how everyone feels, or the overall feeling. Like, my FE and I was noticing how more and more people want to have their career be online, and for some reason that diluted my, like, this was like totally an example of me ignoring my introverted feeling, where I was like shaming myself for having a desire. ISFPs do not shame themselves for having desires. They are very connected to an almost primal, natural way of being. Introverted feeling, in my opinion, is pretty primal, because it's like, it is desire. Like, extroverted feeling is sort of, I don't want to say more evolved, because I'm not saying it's better, but it's almost like a more advanced way of feeling, where you are almost putting yourself completely out of it. Like, to use extroverted feeling, you are looking at the group feeling and you're judging the feelings of the group, where introverted feeling is more, it's more primal. It's, I think, the first type of feeling that we probably evolved as humans, because it is me, I know who I am, this is my desire, which is, I think, the first thing that all of us, you know, as humans get to first. So, okay, I'm not trying to say it's like better or worse. I'm just saying it's first. It feels like it's first. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, moving on there. If anyone wants me to talk more about that, I might make another video. But it's very primal. It's like feeling the desire within and realizing that that is mine and that I can go for it. And not all ISFPs are going to necessarily go for whatever their feeling is, but they at least know that it's theirs to go for. So let me make this distinction. Might be a little bit difficult to explain. INFPs also have introverted feeling, and so they also have a very keen awareness of what they feel. But INFPs are often crippled by their fears and their paranoias because extroverted intuition will reflect their fears and their desires in sort of heightened ways. The way I describe extroverted intuition, and I'm going to get back to ISFPs in a second, I promise this is important. The way I describe extroverted intuition is that the reason why we evolved to use extroverted intuition is because if, let's say you're cavemen and you're in the wild and you hear the wind, and the extroverted sensor will say, that sounds like the wind, it's fine, I'm gonna keep going. But an extroverted intuitive says, what if that was a predator? And they look, and then they might be saved. So extroverted intuition is always reflecting awe on like their fears and their desires. They aren't really seeing straight. That doesn't mean that they're seeing incorrectly, but they literally are seeing what's not there in a very beneficial way for them. And so they have a hard time going for that desire. ISFPs are different. ISFPs know their desire, and they know that there's absolutely nothing in the way from them reaching their desire. So I had to kind of explain INFPs so that you ISFPs listening to this know what you are and also how unique it is what you are. I guarantee you there are people listening to this video who tested as INFPs and INFPs, sorry, they have tested as INFJs and INFPs that are actually ISFPs. To be an ISFP is to know your desires so strongly and to look in the world and know that there is a pathway for you to get there. Now, it's easier said than done, and ISFPs tend to know things like, ISFPs would know that solving my problem is simple, but it doesn't mean that it's easy. And the distinction here is that ISFPs know that all of their problems have simple solutions, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't take a lot of emotional energy to complete. Like, an ISFP might decide that they no longer are interested in their significant other. Their SE and their FI will go, okay, I guess we need to break up. They aren't gonna overthink it. They're gonna know the solution to their problem. They're gonna recognize their feeling, and then they're gonna know what to do about it. And they aren't gonna they just don't overdo it. They don't overthink. And okay, I said in my other ISFP video that you guys don't overthink. And some of you guys said, oh, but we do. I think that maybe you do, but if you understood how much other types overthink, you would realize that you actually don't in comparison. So I'm not saying that, like, I'm not trying to diminish like the mental turmoil or how ISFPs stay in their heads a lot, because they can. Like, you're introverts, and so you're gonna stay in your head. But what am I saying? But you aren't gonna overthink. You aren't gonna conflate your own reality or your own desires. It's very simple, and that is such a great it's a great mindset, especially like for someone like me. Like, I think that the NI of an ISFP is just extremely potent from my view, because it's so not diluted by the what ifs. And sorry, NE, but sometimes it can dilute reality. And so, ISFPs, are the ones that'll be like, if you want it, then, I don't know, go get it. My ISFP friend said to me whenever I was talking about being a media influencer, she's like, well, why don't you do it? Like, if anyone could do it, it's you, because you're the one that wants to do it. Now, what I seem to think, correct me if I'm wrong, ISFPs, but I feel like ISFPs think that if you have the desire, then that's almost like more reason to believe that you can achieve it. ISFPs, they don't judge people based on their behavior, because they know that the behavior is completely proportional to the desire that they have. So whenever some people are lazier, perhaps they don't have the desire to do anything about it. Perhaps they want their life to be that way. ISFP, like, it seems like people with stronger introverted thinking are always judging other people's behavior because they're judging it based on their standards, when everyone has their own desires and their own wants in life. Some people want more out of life. Some people want a simple life, and that's fine. And like, even though my ISFP friend said something simple of, well, no, not everyone wants to do that. Why don't you do it? To me, what I got from that, the NI that I perceived from her simple SE thing was, you know what? Because I want it, perhaps I am uniquely qualified to get it. And because that desire is going to drive me to that point. If I didn't have the desire, it wouldn't drive me to the point. If I didn't have the desire to share what I want to say with the world, then I would have no reason to face my fear of internet hate comments and trolls, and my fear of judgment and all those things, and my fear of failure. I would have no reason to face those things, but it is my desire that makes me face them. And I think that ISFPs know that they honor when they have a desire. They know they don't ever really sugarcoat things. They know that it's going to be probably hard work. They know that desires come with obstacles. Also, ISFPs, whenever obstacles do come up, they really don't freak out about it. The same ISFP friend, she was hanging out with me once, and she parked in the wrong spot or whatever, and her car got towed. And she was just kind of like, oh, guess I gotta figure that out. She wasn't like, oh my God, my car got towed. Okay, if you guys are an INFP or an ENFP, I swear to God, situations like that would freak you out. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I think I'm an INFP or whatever, but you think that you would react like that, like, I would ask you to second guess, because that is the sensory world, extroverted sensing that is going on. And so ISFPs know, they trust their ability to solve that problem, because it's sensory, it's easy. Like, it's an easy problem. It's not going to be a fun problem, which is, you know, calling someone to pick you up, figuring out how to pay whatever to get your car back. It's not a fun problem, but it's an easy problem. And I think that ISFPs have that outlook whenever bad things happen. They know what's in their control, and when something happens like that, they know exactly what they gotta do. Now they just gotta muster up the courage to do it. So ISFPs, they seem to have a lot of control over their emotions and their body than other types. They notice things, and I really admire their keen eye. They really do, like, dive deep into people's souls. Even more so than INFJs and INFPs, honestly. Sorry, I keep kind of jumbling up the letters, but you guys hopefully know what I mean. I think that they see something that, like, they don't. The poet Rumi, that you might have heard of, I believe is an ISFP. Man, I wish I had an example of that right now, but I don't. Wait, hold on, guys. Never mind. And there's also this guy, what is it? It's like a Zen thicked, non-hicked. I don't know how to say that word. I'm gonna look it up. But the poet Rumi, I'm almost positive, is an example of an ISFP outlook. It looks like really simple, basic poem. Oh, and also Rupi Kaur. If you've heard of Rupi Kaur, I'll read one of her poems. Yeah, it's Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk. I've read a lot of his books. Very ISFP worldview. Rupi Kaur is a Instagram poet that sometimes she's been criticized for being too simple, but she sees the beauty in the simple, and that's ISFP. That here is a poem by Rupi Kaur. But what is stronger than the human heart, which shatters over and over and lives? It's the most ISFP shit I've ever seen. Why don't you take a look at that and learn from the ISFP? What she said was true. It wasn't mind-blowing. It is true, but people don't look at it. That's FINSE. It's not like this mind-blowing new idea that nobody's ever thought of. It's right in front of your face, but people forget to tap into it. ISFPs tap into what's real, what is human, and what is human nature. And I don't know, the things they say are mind-blowing to me as an intuitive, because I forget, I overcomplicate things. And I think that they really have a knack for seeing the beauty in the world. And even they see the beauty in times of struggle, I think, because they understand that relationship between their desire and their obstacles. And they understand that their obstacles are the only way to get to their desire. And so they're strong. They are tough cookies. Seriously. I have never heard an ISFP complain. And it's because they know, that this is my desire. I really only have two options. Am I going to go for it, or am I going to not? If I go for it, there's going to be obstacles and challenges along the way. And if I don't go for it, I'm going to feel this burning sensation in my heart, and I'm going to regret it. So they don't really try and, they just see the reality of the emotional situation, and they know that it's on them to decide what to do. And they don't ever seek shortcuts. NFPs are always seeking shortcuts to their problems. ISFPs seem to know that those, as long as your desire is consistent, there's always going to be, it's a journey, And that's what NI gets when you put NI and FI together. You realize that they're kind of like inverted INTJs. Even though they seem soft and delicate and sweet, they have the grit and the determination of an INTJ. But they see the beauty more than an INTJ, and they see human beings more. That's their priority. So they have almost the same exact outlook as an INTJ, but they see the beauty in people first and the beauty in situations, and then they decide the logical route of what to do. Whereas an INTJ will decide, what is the logical route to do, and then reflect on their values. So I think ISFPs are very beautiful people. I wish I had more of them in my life. I think ISFPs, there are a lot of girls that I know I've been friends with but haven't gotten super close with, that they'll be the sort of people that are always my supporters on social media, that will like my things. They seem to be kind of lurkers, which they don't feel the need to say things unless they think that it's gonna actually be useful, which I think is also similar to NTJs, because you realize they use the same functions. Yeah, why don't you just try and look at the beauty that's right in front of you? And I know that this is similar to the ESFJ video that I talked about, how ESFJs know that if you can't be happy with the little things, then how are you going to be happy with the big things? ISFPs are kind of like that, but not really. ISFPs are more afraid to dream big, or no, not afraid. ISFPs are less afraid to dream big because they know that if they have the desire, then the resources are going to show up for them to reach that desire. ISFPs are the sort of people where, like, they'll give advice where it's like, if your boyfriend or girlfriend is not treating you how you want to be treated, then you should break up with them. They'll have very cold, hard facts. I saw a post on Facebook from an ISFP the other day that was like, if somebody is acting disinterested in you, believe them. And I sent that to an NFP friend of mine, and she was like, LOL, I'm so triggered. Like, I don't want to believe it's that black and white, because sometimes people act disinterested for different reasons, blah, 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 blah. But the way I take that quote is you believe them because you believe the SE that they're showing, and it's on them to show you who they are. Like, NE sometimes thinks that it's on them to get the right perception or whatever, but it's kind of on the other person to be themselves. So anyway, I feel like there's a lot I can say about ISFPs now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. There's probably more I could go into. As I was talking about this, I was just like, man, I love ISFPs. Like, I need more of them in my life. I feel like they are a pretty good friendship match for an ENFJ, because, like, since my FI is strong but ignored, then, but we're both like feelers first, I think that that's like a really good friendship match. Gosh, I was gonna say something, but anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and please, if you're interested in videos like these and conversations like these, join my Facebook page or Facebook group that I'll link below, Personality Typology for Self-Growth. I'd love to see you in there, and thank you so much. Comment if you are an ISFP and you agreed with this video or had anything else to add. Have a wonderful day.